All right, so here's a common problem with any type of shower pan that has a flange like this, is that if it's not completely spaced within your shower area, you can end up having the board be off. So in this instance, I have a 1/4 inch gap between my pan and the actual framing. So I'm gonna have to put some shims in here in order to make this nice and flush, because you want this board to be nice and even with one another. So shimming is usually required on this type of situation. And this goes for any type of shower pan that has some kind of a flange, whether it's even a tub. Tubs have flanges as well. And a lot of times you have to shim out the walls. So just be aware of that majority of bathrooms constructed, they're not exactly 60 inches. They're usually something, 60 1/4, something a little bit bigger. And honestly, when you have that extra room, it makes it easier to fit everything in, and then shimming it is no big deal, especially when you have all of the drywall removed, because then you can just shim the entire wall and everything aligns nice and evenly. So let's go ahead and put some shims in here so that we can make sure that backer board stays even with it. So I'm gonna put a pretty big piece here because I want, this is gonna be my blocking for a grab bar. So I just want to make sure that this entire thing has a shim behind it. Okay, so then we'll just shim out every stud. And if you do that, you're gonna have to move your box. As long as it's about a 1/2 inch out, we should be good. Put something right in here because we're gonna be bringing that wallboard back in here. All right, so accessories in a tiled shower is always welcome, especially when it's your own custom shower. You can build what you want. These little shower shaving ledges are really awesome. It can either be storage or used just for that. They're basically all ABS material. You can custom fit them to the shower pan that you're installing. So I'm going to show you how to install these, but these are a great accessory for extra storage or utility in your shower. So these are just going to go in the corners of the shower. Now you want to pay attention to one thing here is where the actual anchor bracket for this is. So as you can see here, I need to cut down this actual shaving bench so that this meets right against that backsplash. So like about 1 3/4 inches is what I need to cut down this bottom portion. So we're going to cut 1 3/4 inches down. We're also going to need some blocking in here as well. So you want to have some blocking so that you can mount this to. There we go. Okay. We basically want to just mark this and then measure down from the top of this 1.5 inches. That's where we'll have a block. There we go. Okay, so we'll just temporarily hold that there. So this piece right here, this little 45-degree angle, is 12 1/4. So that supports the top. We'll seal this all in, but we got to get the wallboard cut around this first. So, but that'll be a nice little extra ledge in here. Yeah, so that fits nicely there. So we do want to get some blocking in here. So set this into place. Just mark. And this needs to be 1.5 inches below those marks. Okay, so this is like an accessory for this system. And it's essentially just a flashing. It's kind of like a glorified roofing flashing, really. So this is going to go over top of the flange. So first need to notch this out a little bit to overcome the sides here. So basically just a 1/2 inch back, and just cut. So this is going to overcome the edge of the pan. So this goes right over top of here. And it just provides an extra insurance that when you meet your board down, you're actually going to be overlapping it and you don't have any problems. Now, this isn't like something that you necessarily have to be within warranty. To me, it just makes a lot of sense because it's just extra insurance. It's just like having step flashing on a roof. You know, rather than just depending on the sealant in between the two panels here. You know, obviously the most important aspect to a custom tile shower is having the base completely waterproof and anything within a foot from that shower, because this is all going to be what really gets penetrated with water. So having something like this, I think, makes a ton of sense and just ensures that you have a good seal. So now that we got that back one on, we'll just screw that into place. So this is actually going to be underneath of the actual bench, so you're really not going to get any water penetration behind that, but still notch this out to go over top. Cut down a little bit here on the curb. Okay, so with this system, you always just want to use the sealant that's made for it. So this is the Tile Redi sealant. This is essentially what's going to waterproof all the boards, all the screws, and kind of adhere everything together. So this is a polyurethane sealant. This is stuff that definitely has come a long way over the last couple of decades. It's really impressive. It always stays elastic, and it's really, really waterproof stuff. So I have this in a caulking gun, a power caulking gun, because I'm going to be using so much of it. It just makes it a lot easier overall. But let's go ahead and put these little shaving benches in so that we can build the board around it, because you're going to basically be meeting the board all the way around this. Just double check this. You've got plenty of pitch and it's level. So one really cool thing about this board is it has a little bit of a rabbet joint here. So especially on the first piece that you put in, basically the top sheet will overlap this and you can seal it. So I've never seen that in any other type of foam board. I just thought that was a terrific idea, because right at, you know, basically waist level, where it's really the most important, you can can basically shiplap this over and make sure it has a really good seal. So let's go ahead and get this back sheet in first. Now we're gonna have to cut down alongside of those little shaving niches and bring that down to the base. We're in here 7.5. So we'll just cut these little squares here to go around the shaving ledges. Okay, so you technically could just use a Tilly knife on all of this. That's some pretty thick. It's gonna take a little bit with a utility knife, probably easier with the oscillating tool. It does feel like a big piece of PVC board, really. Honestly, what's easier is just using an oscillating tool like this. Yeah, it's a lot easier. All right, so that's nice and tight there. Nice and flush there. That should work. Okay, so now that we've got the board kind of set and ready to go, now we can just take our sealant and we just want to apply generously everywhere that this board meets somewhere. So right against this area. Okay, so you want to see that oozing out of that base right there. This is the most important joint, is right there. And then we can just go just about every 8 inches on your screws. We're just gonna use regular galvanized screws. So just basically sink these in just behind the board. Okay, so just as long as that's smooth for now, we'll move on with the rest here. Okay, so this is really cool. Just having that little rabbet joint, this really ensures that everything's going to be sealed right against that next board. And then we're going to go over top of this for the niche. So really cool idea, Redi. I think that was a great idea with that rabbet joint. Yeah, look at all that nice. I love that. That's what you want it to look like right there. Take this excess and just smear the crust. Now we're going to be going back over some of this, especially all the screw holes and everything, but make sure it's flat. And that's one of the reasons I really like sealant applications, because you're able to get this completely flat. You don't have any membrane overhang, which is nice. Okay, and then we'll just go ahead and put this down at the bottom. Now we do want to have a little bit of a pitch. Put a bead right against the edge. And I'm going to put one back here just to give myself a little bit of height adjustment. I'll just give us a little bit of height. You can take a look here. I have a pitch. So that's going to make sure that everything drains off of that nicely. Make sure you smear any extra sealant off of here. So we're just going to use a big bead against the sill. And we're going to just adhere it to the back. Okay, so now keep in mind that this is not necessary to have this shiplap. You could just install the board this way and just butt it up against the corner. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just this is kind of nice when you have two seams coming together like this. But since I'm going into this niche, you know, I'm gonna just run it this way because it's gonna be a little bit easier to figure this out because I've got a lot of things going on here. So we're gonna just do the same thing. We're gonna notch around our little shaving bench. We're gonna cut out that square right here. And so what I would recommend is cutting this, letting this go down like 1.5 inches down along side of your curb, because I actually want to bring the tile out a couple of inches. We're going to be actually tiling this curb, so it's going to look better if you have a little bit of reveal coming out. And plus, this is always a problematic area, having drywall butting up to something like this. So you want to have some, a little bit of waterproofing. So we're just going to bring this out, yeah, 1 inch. Yeah. And so this is gonna, each side of this is gonna have to be cut 3.5 in order for this to slide in. Okay, so I'll just mark the center of this 3-inch hole. Okay. Indication here. This is a really critical area right here. I feel right along the side of a tub or a shower. Just make sure you put a little bit of waterproofing right along here. Even this like one inch little strip is going to prevent a lot of pain at some point, because drywall always seems to deteriorate right at this point. Just make sure you seal right up against here. Okay, so this corner trowel really helps out to get a nice smooth edge on the corner. So we're going to go over all our corners first, and then we just go over all the screw holes. Okay, so this is a pretty critical corner here. Okay, so that takes care of the waterproofing. So everything is definitely, I really did like this board a lot. It's definitely pretty stiff for the most part. And both sides were waterproof, so it made it easy to use, so I didn't really have much waste. The only thing is I did run out of sealant. I got 8 tubes for the shower, and I think these little benches really kind of hogged up a lot, and then obviously this recessed niche really hogged up a bunch too. But I did use some Sikaflex. This is some pretty good stuff, but just make sure you order enough of the sealant. I should have got 10 tubes. I had a feeling that's probably what I would have needed, but all in all, yeah, pretty straightforward. Basically a few hours for the pan, a few hours for the wall, and we can really get on to start tiling the shower. Left your guard down.